For APA Part 4, I wanted to focus in on the use of headers within your paper. While I can't really envision a time when you're going to go to the deepest level of the headings, this is a topic that really kind of confuses a lot of students, so I wanted to spend some time making sure you understood how and when we use headers and what they should look like in an APA paper. So when we're talking about the use of headers, what I really want you to imagine is back to the time when you did a chapter outline in school. And maybe you did this, maybe you didn't. But I think for the most part, everybody can understand what is a chapter outline. Okay, so I took some chapters from a text that eventually you will be in class for, all right? And I listed them out according to the sections of that chapter. So the chapter is a brief history of law and medicine. And then here's part 1, the history of law, and some of the major sections and subsections of that chapter. And so if you remember doing this, great. This is going to be very helpful, I hope. But really, so this is the name of the chapter, and I numbered it number 1 because this is the main thing we're talking about, right? It's our main topic. But within that chapter, there are different sections that need to be talked about, like what is the history? So that has this label A, and it's a little a, not a big A. But within the history, there are sections, right? And so the historical foundation, and then this is kind of just key information below that about that section. Then within the history of the law, we go to the vast, complex, and dynamic field. Then we go to major sources of U.S. law. And again, these subsections here are just key information pieces, what we want to talk about within the section of the section. All right. So if we were to compare this to the APA header system, it would look something like this on this side. Header 1, level 1, we're talking about a brief history of law and medicine. Now, in your paper, you're not going to write header level 1. I did that here for you to know that that's the header level. Okay? So essentially think of this as the title of your paper. Here is what I'm talking about today. It's going to be center, boldface, with a title case heading. All right? So that would be the center. Then as you move through your paper, you're going to have sections. All right, so we were going to talk about the history of law, and that was the first part of our paper. So our header would be the history of law. Now again, we don't need to write header level 2. I just did that for your references. So header level 2 is flush left, boldface, and title case heading. So that's talking about what do we capitalize. But under the history of the law, we had another section, and it was called the historical foundation of the U.S. legal system. So that subsection has its own header level, flush left, boldface, italic, title case heading. So really, we're just using the headers to say, hey, I've moved to this significant part of my paper. Now, you don't always have to do this. It doesn't have to be this defined, but there might be times that you need to do that. So then under the historical foundation of the U.S. legal system, there was the definition of common law, the Affordable Care Act, and other key statements. And if you note, it's indented, and there's a period here. So again, that new section is indented, boldface, title case heading, and ends with a period. This is just to show everybody that I've moved to a new particular piece of information. Now, the other piece to note when you're getting to header level 4, is that your paragraph starts right after that period. So there's no spacing. So that's the other piece of this that's really important, is where does your text start? If you'll note on the others, it's indented, but when we get to header level 4, it starts on the same line. And then you can actually go to a header level 5 if you really, really want to. And that is indented, boldface, italic, title case heading ending with a period. Okay, and so I tried to show you that here as what that might look like if we were to do a paper outline. So on this page with all these markings, what I tried to do was a chapter outline on the left and how those headers would look in APA format on the right. This APA headings level format is actually what I got from OWL Purdue. This document exists there, so you can reference it at any time. And then the other thing I tried to do was try to match these with colored arrows for you to say this one's header level 1, this one's header level 2, and so on and so forth. So very quickly, what I'm going to do is clean up all of my markings, and then if you want, you should be getting out your cell phone right now, unless you're doing this on your cell phone, which is fine. You can snap a shot of this screen and keep it in your phone for easy reference. Again, I don't expect really, I can't imagine you're going to be going to header level 5 until the very end of the program. And even then, I'm not sure. It's very seldom that you see header level 5 in a lot of the work that we're going to be doing, unless you're just writing a dissertation thesis type document. So take a quick second if you want and screenshot this. And that's the end of what I have to say about headers. And we'll move on to the last video, APA Part 5.